At this point, we've made ourselves a lovely little model of a teddy bear here. And we'd like to actually be able to render this and share it with our friends, family, admirers. To render our model, if we go to the render menu and choose current frame, you'll note this is F12. Most of the time I'm just going to type F12. Blender will render a new window looking at our teddy bear. And you'll note that we're looking at this from an angle we weren't seeing it in our model view. This is because we're looking through the camera. I'm actually going to hit escape to close this render window, and I'm going to line up my camera so that I see the teddy bear from exactly the angle that I was expecting. To do this, I'm going to change my view to camera in one pane. That's numpad 0. So now I'm looking through the camera. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here using the scroll wheel so that the camera view fills the pane. And we see that there are 3 boxes here. The middle dotted line describes more or less exactly what's going to show up in that render window. We can adjust how these lines relate to each other in the shape of that window by adjusting the number of the camera settings, which we're not ready to talk about yet. But right now, we just need to remember that the middle dotted line here is what we're going to see through the camera. Now, how do we move the camera? To do that, it's the easiest way is to switch another view to the top view. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. And our camera, which I'm going to right click on to select right here, you'll see it selected now in both views, is this pink, well now it's pink, selected, pyramid shape. If I move it around, we see that the camera view moves. And all of those standard manipulators can be used on the camera. So I'm actually going to move it and rotate it. And having gotten it more or less lined up on my teddy bear, looking down on it a little bit, I'm actually going to switch to a side view now. Side view, that's numpad 3. And I'm going to move my camera down just a little bit so my teddy bear fills this a little bit more. And now I've changed my view. Remember that I'm probably not going to see the feet because they're hanging at the bottom of the below the dotted line there. And now when I choose to render the current frame again, F12, I've got this same view of my teddy bear. Now, look at my teddy bear. He's very, very, very darkly shadowed. This has to do with, I'm going to escape to close this, where our light is. If we look at our light is this circle with a dot in it, a dotted line around it. I'm going to right click to select it. We see that the manipulators work on it as well. I'm going to switch to the top view. That's keypad 7. And we see that the light is coming from above and a little bit behind the teddy bear. Most of the time, our model is going to look nicest if the light is coming from more or less where the camera is. So I'm going to move this over behind the camera. In fact, I'll put it directly behind the camera right now, so it's really coming from right behind the camera. I'm going to switch to a side view, that's numpad 3. And I can move this up and down. In fact, I could move this down so it's coming from behind the camera but from below. If I render this current frame now, we'll see that it's a little bit like the teddy bear was holding a flashlight under its face and telling us ghost stories, which might be undesirable. So I'm going to move this up to right behind the camera, literally right behind the camera. And I now have a fairly well-lit version of my teddy bear. Once I've rendered my view, I can save it by going to the File menu and choosing Save Rendered Image. That's F3. When I do that, I'll get a File Explorer window here, and I'm going to just give my render a nice name like teddy bear image, and it's going to save it as a JPEG in whatever folder I tell it to save it in. And now I can share that JPEG with my friends and family and admirers.